Hi guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here for a bit more fun with napkins. So I'm here with these beautiful napkins again that I had received in Happy Mail. So a few more here. I've already separated them out, so hopefully you don't have to watch me do that boring kind of stage. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use coffee dyed. It is paper, but it's slightly thicker. So this, I think, was 160 GSM card, or, you know, paper. And I'm just going to decoupage my napkins onto the, you know, the paper slash card. And then hopefully we're going to make some tabs. Now, I saw a video by, I think her name is My Cottage Crafts, making napkin tabs. And it just looked awesome. So when I'd obviously done my making tabs recently, that I was so chuffed to have worked out how to do tabs, I then stumbled across that, obviously, because then, you know, I'd uploaded that, and then you get suggested videos, you know, relating to obviously what you've uploaded and, you know, what it considers that you're interested in. So, yeah, I was quite excited because I had never really seen that, well, you know, that kind of technique or that style of tabs, and they just looked so pretty. So I thought I will come along and we will have a go at doing some. So I'm just going to pop my napkins down onto the card. Now I'm just going to lay this down on here, and then obviously, you know, try not to touch it, as I really don't like having to touch the napkin too much. So I will take my acetate, press it down with that so that I'm coming into contact with the napkin as little as possible. And this is just such a great way to get those creases out, you know, and you don't have to then actually touch the napkin and come into contact with it, which, you know, I then find I have ended up tearing it in the past. So obviously you've probably all seen me do this before, and again, you know, the acetate, that was not my idea. I'm pretty certain I first saw it on Sagita's Coffee Stains. I'm pretty sure that she is the person who I saw first using the acetate. So yeah, definitely not my idea, but it works absolutely wonderfully. So I'm just going to literally, do that with my bits of my napkins that I have here. So do the next one. So we just pop this down, and I'm applying it really to here rather than the napkin on the acetate, just because my acetate piece, I mean, actually it probably is big enough for this one, but it wasn't big enough for my first napkin, if you see what I mean. But yeah, it probably is big enough now, so I probably could be applying the Mod Podge to the napkin directly onto the acetate. But to be honest, you know, I find this works just as well, you know, by doing it this way. So I'll just pop that down there. Again, just take my acetate sheet, press that down. Yeah, I mean, you can see actually that would have been fine. So for those people who haven't seen it, I will do the next one applying it directly to the acetate. So my next one is actually, it's just a small napkin. Let me just do it on the other side because that might be a little bit sticky now. So I just take my Mod Podge, and I like to use mine watered down a bit. I don't have a precise recipe or anything. I just, you know, I've got this old Mod Podge bottle, and I just kind of pour some in and then just add a bit of water. I like it just to be a bit of a creamy mixture. As I say, I mean, I haven't got a clue how many parts water to how many parts Mod Podge that it is. It's just a little bit of water that sort of thins it down a little bit and just makes it a bit more creamy and a bit less thick, you know, because again, I find the thicker it is, the more likely I am to tear the napkin. So okay, let me just pop that one down on there like that. And again, then obviously you can just spread it out without coming into contact with your napkin at all. So you know, it really is a really good way for anyone who's who's a little bit inclined to tear the napkins if they come into too much contact with them, as I definitely am. So I'm just going to again pop that off to the side to dry. And then I've just got 2 more. So I've actually got a smaller piece of card here. So hopefully this is going to fit. Yeah, so I'm just going to do it directly to the card now, because obviously my acetate's pretty wet with the glue. So I'll just pop this down here. So yeah, I mean, I just find the acetate is a handy tool, and you know, I think it works absolutely fine whether you apply the glue to the napkin on the acetate, or if you lay your napkin down and then press it with your acetate. I find either to be, you know, pretty successful. So let me take some tissue here to sort of press this down. Obviously, as I say, I mean, my acetate's pretty gluey now from obviously the ones that we've done so far. Okie dokie. Just peel that up, and then my last little bit, it's just a little strip basically off of, you know, the bottom of that big napkin, which then would have been, you know, far too big to have popped onto the A4 page. So I'll just pop that into this space here like that. Okay, again, just take my acetate and just press that in like that. Okie dokie. So now I'm going to just obviously leave them all to dry before coming back to do our project. Right, I am back. So they are dry now, or, you know, dry to the point that we can use them. So I've got here, these are a bunch of tabs that I made the other night, just whilst I was kind of in front of the TV. So I've got those there, and I'm just going to keep them to the side, and that's how, you know, how I'm going to store my tabs. Let's take, I'm just having a look. Okay, so let's take, I think let's take this strip first, because, you know, obviously this is quite a skinny piece. So I'll just chop that down like that. Just move these onto my lap so they're not in the way. Now obviously this is quite a skinny piece, so rather than folding it over like that, I'm going to fold it like that, which is a bit of a shame, because actually I would have preferred the pattern, you know, that way, if you see what I mean. But then they might be, you know, really tiny. So if I do it here, just thinking, because that looks like it's kind of blue then on either end. So I'm just going to fold that over. And then we'll just trim it down, getting rid of that excess napkin that was just hanging off to the side. I'll just then trim that down a bit more. Okay, and then just like last time, I'll just get my circle punch. Oops. Oh, honestly, what's going on? Oh, now I can't get it threaded through. There we go. So again, I've got those little marks where I've drawn on my circle punch, so I know roughly where to punch my circles, you know, to get them into the right place each side. So just punch those two like that, and then just move this off to the side a little bit. Oh, all those little bits that are just flicking around. And then what I'm going to do, obviously this is quite tiny to actually fit this into my, you know, corner rounder. So I'm just going to round these little bits off slightly like that. And like that. And actually I'm just going to I think around those really slightly. I mean, you're literally taking off like, I mean, so minuscule, it's like barely even, you know, you can't even kind of put into words how minimal it is, the bit that's coming off. So that's my little tab, and then of course can just ink that up, and I'm thinking this would look really pretty with a little word or something on it. So just got some words here. Oh, I've got beautiful. Let's just take that. I'm just going to tear this out. Okay, tear it down. We'll just ink that up. Like that. Okay. We can just pop that on there. Oh, how pretty is that? Really pretty, isn't it? So just then pop that down like that, like that. Now on the video that I saw with my cottage crafts, she did this fantastic thing where she did like a strip of paper and she used her envelope punch board. So I have bought my envelope punch board along. The only thing is with that, well, I mean, obviously I kind of originally didn't do that, you know, didn't do them using the punch board because not everybody has a punch board. But the other thing is they actually then, they don't look the same as these tabs, if you see what I mean. So I'm just going to take this. I mean, this is like, killing me to actually to cut this napkin down because it's so pretty. I really love some of these prints on these napkins, and then it just is so difficult to actually bring myself to use them. Right, stop being ridiculous and cut into this. So I'm going to just trim this down like this, and I'm going to go across here. Now she did it with a whole great big strip. I'm not doing that because I may make a tag out of this in a minute to see how our tabs look. So that's the only reason I'm not doing that. And then what she did was obviously folded it over and did the punch board. So I'm just going to trim this down here at the bottom. And then I just trim here at the edge. Yeah, I mean, sometimes these napkins are so nice, aren't they, that I decoupage like a sheet and then I can't bring myself really to cut into it and use it. So yeah, definitely that's a bit of an issue for me. Right, so I'm just going to fold this over, and this is where I could probably do with my bone folder. I've got a load of stuff balanced on the side of my desk, so I hope it doesn't fall down. So far so good. I thought I might have knocked it when I went to get my bone folder, but luckily it stayed. Right, now obviously in your punch board, if you've got one of these, you've got a little notch thing here. So to start it, you want to put it like halfway, so your edge of your paper halfway, exactly, you know, halfway in between the points, if that makes sense, like that. Oops, like that. Okay, and then depending on how big you want your tab to be, oh my gosh, that's hard work, just go along. So you can have them obviously all different sizes. I'm going to have to stand up because oh, that's hard work punching through that doubled over card. So like that, and then just do this tiny one here, which is obviously going to be minuscule, but oh well, it's teeny weeny on there. And then her, you know, fantastic idea was obviously you would then be able to just leave these as a complete strip and just chop them as you need them, which is a fantastic idea, isn't it? So I mean, I'm sure she won't stumble across my video, to be honest, because you know, she's well, I'm not sure she does journals all the time for a start, but She's a, you know, quite a big lady, so I'm sure she won't be stumbling across my videos. But yeah, fantastic idea. And just, yeah, you can just cut them down. But do you see what I mean? They turn out a slightly different shape to the ones that we have made, you know, by hand. So I'm not saying, you know, that I prefer one shape over the other, but they are different. Of course, I didn't also leave the bottom very long, if you see what I mean. Mainly because this little notch is not very big compared to the ones that we're doing with the circle punch, if you see there. So obviously, if then I had a small notch and then a great big bit, it might look really strange. So, you know, but that's another alternative that you can do if you'd rather not fiddle around with your circle punch. And I do love this idea of just being able to keep them as a strip. And you could just, you know, pop them in a pot or something like that, all your strips coming out. And then as you come to use them, just literally chop them down. So, yeah, I thought that was a brilliant idea. Now, shall we make a tag? Oh, well, let's just do a couple of the, you know, the tabs from this as well, because this is also beautiful, beautiful napkin piece. So, again, let's just fold that down here. Like that. I'll just chop that across here. Okay. I'm just going to again just trim off that white bit at the edge and then just cut them into, you know, roughly the sizes I want my tabs to be. So there's 1, 2, then we'll just do this one like that. I don't mind that that's got that shabby type looking bit there. I'm just going to move my camera up because I'd obviously moved it for a flip through, and I just want to make sure that I am, you know, in frame. So, right, let me just clear these bits away. And then we're just going to, again, take our circle punch. I need to fold these down slightly more because otherwise they're not really wanting to go into my circle punch. Like that. I should really even bone folder them across like that. And then they'll be nice and flat, hopefully, to go into the punch. So that one. Oops. And there. Oh, come on. And then this one. Yeah, they're quite fun to make, I have to say, these. So I did just make a whole bunch the other night while I was just watching TV. And obviously I didn't have my hot glue gun, but I might convert some into paper clips like we did in the other video. So, oops. Okay, right, let me just get rid of those corners that have flicked all over me. All over me / all over the floor, to be fair. They're not really just all over me. So aren't they just so cute? And I mean, I know I said this before, but I mean, actually, I don't even mind the, you know, that shape there for the, you know, where the circle is, to be honest. I think that even looks quite nice. But I'll just tidy them up a little bit. Like that. And like that one. I mean, so it really is up to you how you finish these off, you know, whether you round the bottoms, whether you round these bits, whether you round these edges, you know, just play around and see what you fancy. And, you know, just because you do it one time doesn't mean you're going to always do it like that, you know, because it's nice to always change it up, isn't it? So let's make a tag now from some of our napkins. So this one, to be fair, is kind of shouting at me because it just happens it's now, you know, ideal size for a tag. So what I'm going to do, I think, is just back this onto something else, because I had obviously decoupaged this onto that coffee dyed paper, but it's quite flimsy, you know. It doesn't really feel, to me, it doesn't really feel thick enough to be a tag. So I do like my tags pretty solid, I have to say. Right, just having a look around to see what I've got to back this onto. Oh, that'll be the next thing. Trying to find something to actually back it onto. Oh gosh, come on. Oh dear, what on earth. Right, got this. So some more coffee dyed paper, but this one is card, so this is really nice and, you know, thick. So I'm just going to glue this down all around. Okie dokie. Just a bit of glue there in the middle as well. If you don't glue in the middle, I think then you just have this like bubble effect going on. You know, so I always do like to have a bit of glue all over, really. But I mean, again, you know, personal choice, really. So up to you how you kind of glue your pieces down. Right. I'm going to just press it down here first, because I don't want to tear that napkin, which hopefully, you know, there's no terrible bits, but I'll just get it sort of a bit more firm on that card before I do that. I'm just a little bit aware that obviously it's not 100% dry. I mean, it is pretty dry, but obviously I didn't want to wait all day to come back and do the rest of the video, so it probably could have done with a little bit longer, but it's not bad. Okay, so, and the same with this now. It probably really could do with a bit more drying time, but let's just go for it. So we just cut that down there. Okay, and I will just tidy up now this edge here. And then just tidy up this bottom bit as well. And I mean, I know I say this all the time, but sometimes I like my tags with, you know, the corners. Sometimes I don't. It just kind of varies on the mood, really. So I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to do that. But how cute to be able to have matching tabs, or how cute do these little ones look? Kind of mixing up the styles and the colours. That might be quite fun to do. So I also have brought along some bits and pieces here, so oops, to be able to make the tag. So I've got here a couple of bits more out of that lovely Enid Blyton book that we used in the glue book. I love this one here, so I might just tear this out. Like that. And I'm just, you know, sort of fussy tearing, but not overly, you know, going around the shape, if you see what I mean. Okay. There we go. Oops, got a couple of pointy bits there, so I'll just take those off. That bit there. So that's quite pretty, isn't it? And then I will just ink this up because it's obviously quite white against that page. So just using my vintage photo here. It's a cute picture, isn't it? Do we like that one? I'm not convinced now that I put it there. I also have brought along some of those Tim Holtz paper dolls, you know, that I seem to have suddenly started using, even though I'd had them for yonks and didn't use them. It's kind of like high time I did now. I quite like that one, weirdly enough. Quite sweet, isn't it? Well, perhaps we'll go for the paper dolls instead. Now, are we going to be really brave and have like a different tab, or should we go for the matching one? You see, my matchy side is saying go for the matchy one, but then there's something kind of calling me to be bold and go for something different. got a couple of toadstools here just laying about. I wonder if we could have those just poking out behind them. That looks quite fun, doesn't it? Let's just do that. Let's mix up some weird and wonderful things. So there we go. These are just, you know, left over from another project floating on my desk, and they just caught my eye, and I thought, oh, we could just tuck those behind for like a really eclectic sort of feel. I don't want to lose the shape of what they are, which you have to be a bit careful sometimes how you glue things down, because sometimes, I don't know about you, but I stick things down and then they actually lose really, you know, you can no longer really see what they actually were in the first place. So I just need to be a little bit careful how I'm sticking those down. And then do we want to have a bit of doily or something on there? So let me just tear a bit of doily that I've just got here. Oops. Oh, come on. Maybe like that. Yep, I quite like that. So just going to glue this down. Touch wood, I know I said recently in a video, but touch wood, they seem to have kind of rectified the problems with this glue, and touch wood, it seems to be okay for gluing down the doilies once again. So yeah, fingers crossed we're okay now to use that glue. Goodness only knows what they had done to ruin the glue in the first place, but anyway, who cares? It's nice that it seems to have gone back to, I'm not sure it's quite back to the original, but it certainly seems better than it has been of late. So yeah, I'm quite pleased by that. Well, I'm really pleased by that, because it was so frustrating. And I just really hate then having to find new glues. Okay. So we'll just pop this down here. Like that. Isn't that such a beautiful napkin? Oh, I just really do love it. Gorgeous, gorgeous napkins. I think these ones were sent to me by Pat, so thank you so much, Pat. I really appreciate them. Love, you know, different napkins. They're just gorgeous. You know, it's really nice to have lots of different ones, isn't it? I really love those blue ones. I'm kind of hoarding those a little bit. She sent quite a few lovely blue ones, and yeah. I can't quite bring myself to use them, but I will. Well, I mean like the blue one that we've used here. I now can't bring myself to cut into it. Well, perhaps I will do in a minute. Perhaps we'll make a tag with it, and you know, just be brave and just go for it, because otherwise, how ridiculous is that? So there's that. Now, do we want to cut some corners in this? Probably do. So just mop up any excess glue. Oh, now am I going to be brave and go for that different tab? What do you think? I mean, that is the fun thing, isn't it, of having those different tabs, I suppose. So let's cut some corners like that. Just ink up my tag a little bit. I don't want to ink it up too much, because I really do love that napkin, but we'll just ink it a little bit like that. Now, what do we think? Do we go for the matching tab, or do we be brave? I'm going to stand up and look down on it, because sometimes you can get a different perspective then. So that's that one. That's that one. Oh, it's kind of fun to use a different one, isn't it, maybe? So I've got this. Come on, this little one here. Oh, perhaps we'll do that one. Although, is that one a bit on the small side? I think it might be a bit on the small side, you know. So let me just do one more out of, you know, what we've got left from this. Okay. I mean, you know, of course, these are going to look great with patterned, sorry, not patterned, you know, book page tags and things, and music, sheet music tags and things. So that, you know, rather than trying to match them up with a napkin or not, as the case may be, you can then put them with your book page and things. They're going to look really nice on those. Okay. I'm just going to round my corners. And then I'll just round these bits a little bit. I mean, honestly, the most minuscule amount. And I'm just going to do the same at the bottom again, like titchy witchy, a little amount. Okay, and then, oh no, I still can't decide. See, now that's a bit ginormous, and it's like covering that lady's head a bit. Does that matter? Doesn't really matter, does it? Oh, I still can't decide what is wrong with me. It's just a tab. Just a tab. Do you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to mix up my papers, because my natural thing is straight away to go towards the, you know, the matching one. And, you know, what fun is that? It's no fun, is it? So I just have a little bit of napkin there, just lifting slightly. So I'm just going to glue that down as well. Again, I really don't want to touch that too much, but just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm just going to stick my tab on here. So I want to put glue like all round it, because I want obviously to stick my top part of my tab and my fronts and backs like to the tag itself. I know, tab and tags, we're just you know, bit of a tongue twister there going on, but, or a bit of a mouthful. Right, so we're going to have that like that. So I'm just going to stick that down, and again, I mean, I've got some words, so I'll just press that down. Okay, well, I've got another beautiful here, so I'll just tear that one. Like that. Just pop that on there, I think. So again, I'll just ink that up. Okay. That on there like that. And then I just noticed I've got that scrap of that newsprint, which I just love the you know, the colouring of that, so I might have that on there. Just maybe a bit like that, and then I might just have another word or something going on there. So I'm just having a look around, seeing again what is just floating about in my vicinity here where I am. Obviously there is a ton of stuff floating about, so you know, because I just always do have tons of things floating around. I'm tempted to have a little number tab now. Is that just like going way too far? What I should have done was obviously put that behind them rather than just like over the top of their feet. Oh, I don't know. Maybe that was a bit of a big one, and I bet I haven't got any small ones here. No, I've only got my big ones. Oh gosh, decisions again. So I just ink this one up. Yeah, I mean, these come with you you know, this size and some smaller ones. I need to print some more off because I'm now down to just these, I think. So yeah, definitely need to print some more off. And there's also some bigger ones which are quite fun sometimes too, you know, bigger than this. So I'm just wondering if I just have that, or maybe like that or something. Oh, now is that just too much, too cluttery? It's a bit in the middle, isn't it? Oh, let's just go for this, because otherwise I'm just going to be here all day. So I'm going to put this piece of newspaper down. Okay. So this is actual vintage newspaper, which I just love. Oh, do you know, I can't bring myself to put that down. I'm going to have to wait until I've printed off some of the smaller size and put them on there, because you know, I just won't ever feel quite happy with that, with a big one. It's not the right size for that, unless I have another word. So what did I do with those other words? Here we go. Oops. Got strong. Wonder if we could have strong down there. Just again, just tear these out to use. Oh, that's okay, isn't it? Let's have that. The other number, it was just like slightly too big, and I wish that I had thought and I would have popped it behind them, but yeah, I didn't really think of it until too late. They were already stuck down, so I'll just stick this word down instead. So there we go. Okay, right, got there in the end. So love how that looks, and yep, I'm glad that I went with my you know, away from my instincts and went with the brave choice of mixing up the tab. So yeah, I hope that you like that. Now, have we got time to just do one more tag? Let's just do one more. I did say that I was going to try and cut into this, didn't I? Oh, that's just going to be very hard for me to do. Oh, right, let's just be brave. Just go for it. I have actually got more of this napkin because Pat did kindly send me, I think there were a couple of these ones. And obviously this was just half the napkin anyway, so I have got the other half. Now I'm just wondering how now to make the best tag. So maybe this portion here. So let's just cut that down. Like that. Oops, and then just cut it across here. And cut it down here. I've made a hideous job of cutting this. It's so not straight, it's unreal. So yeah, I will definitely need to straighten this out. Now this doesn't feel that flimsy, to be honest, because obviously it's dried a bit more. The other tag, obviously, when it dries, is just going to be like stiff as a board, really. But obviously when I first started playing with it, it was still a little bit wet, so it felt quite flimsy. But yeah, this doesn't feel too bad. Do I want to back it with something though? Oh, probably should. Have I got anything thin enough is the question. Hang on. I've got some coffee dyed paper. So I might just back it onto like another sheet of coffee dyed paper rather than the card. And that would just sort of thicken it up a little bit more. So we'll just then... I mean, as I say, they're still sort of drying, and so to be perfectly honest, I probably will find that they're actually more than fine once they are properly dry anyway, but not a flimsy tag kind of person. I like them pretty solid. Okay. Oops, now I'm using my bone folder to spread this out. What a wally. And as you can see, I mean, it's much better now, you know, much drier. You can probably hear that sort of scratchy noise. Whereas the other one was still quite damp. So, you know, I was much more confident to obviously spread this one with the card there. Yeah, the other one obviously was still pretty damp. Okay. So again, we'll just cut this one down. I will obviously try and neaten it up a little bit now. Oops, like that. Just go down the side a little bit. By cutting it in, hopefully I'm just touching onto that glue. So it's just then, you know, helping to keep it glued down. So that's that. Now, obviously I have that little piece that I tore out from that book, which I'm thinking might look quite cute on here. Now, the only thing is I'm going to end up covering that bird up. So I'm better off just embracing that and thinking cover the whole bird rather than, you know, like trying to keep him on there but not quite managing it. So I'm just going to, you know, face facts. He's going to be covered and that's the end of it. Right, now, what else can I put on here? I've got a little piece of Edith Holden book page left over from another project, so we could have some of that. Let's just tear that down a bit. Just don't like those kind of squared off edges really. That's quite pretty, isn't it? Again, I might just add a little bit of doily. It really even needs the doily, to be honest, but we'll leave it on there. Now, what did I do with that number now? Because that number may look quite good on here. Being the bigger size, it probably is okay on this one. And now, of course, now I can't find it. Oh, gosh. Right, well, I still have them here, so we'll just cut another one. Oh, my gosh, now I can't get hold of that. Right, again, let's just ink this up before we cut it. These are just printed on copy paper, so they're a little bit on the flimsy side. I would normally have probably printed them on something a bit thicker, but having said that, I mean, it's handy to have things printed on both because, you know, sometimes you just do need, you know, something thinner and sometimes you do need something a bit more robust. So, yeah, I think it's quite good to have a combination of thicknesses. Okay. And my doily down. Okie dokie. There we go. Okay, and we'll just pop that on there. Right, let me just dab that up a little bit with my dried wipe. And then just pop my number here. Now I've moved my number up because, can you see what's happened here? Obviously this napkin was like two halves, so this half was facing this way, you know, with the bird and everything, which we've now covered up. And so now I'm running to the other side of the napkin, which is obviously up this way. So I mean, again, in hindsight, I'm not sure what would have been the best way to do this, but maybe stick all of this stuff facing this way and then it would have all been upright. But, you know, it's fine. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. But I'm just going to put my number there for a little bit higher because it just helps to cover up that where it says butterfly upside down. Oops. So I'm just going to pop that down there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to just place this gorgeous, cute image down here. Okie dokie. Yeah, although I'm very stingy with the napkins, you know, because I can't quite bring myself to use them because they're so pretty, I do love using them. They are, oh, they're just, you know, they're such pretty colours, aren't they? So, yeah, I do really like using them, even though I am very stingy when I am using them. Right, that's that. So again, I'll just cut a couple of corners in this tag. So just do that corner trick where you just, you know, take that corner across to here. I did have a question the other day about the size of, it was actually the size of journaling cards rather than tags. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think there's any right or wrong. I think you can have, you know, just go with whatever takes your fancy. You know, I mean, I quite like a big tag, I have to say. But, you know, go with whatever pieces of paper that you have, or, you know, whatever project you're going to be doing, or, you know, whatever pocket that they're going to fit in. I'm just going to stick this little bit of napkin down. That's just obviously where I missed a bit when I was gluing it down. Again, just try and avoid touching that too much. Okay, and then I'm going to go for the matchy matchy tag this time. Tab. Go for the matchy matchy one this time. So I'll just then glue that down. Okay. And I mean, as I say, these are, you know, these are on pretty full-on tags, if you see what I mean, you know, because the tags are heavily decorated, aren't they, with the being made from the napkin. Obviously, if you made them from book page or something as your base, you know, your tabs would be like one of the standout features, if you see what I mean. So, you know, just play around and kind of see what you come up with. But how cute are they? I just absolutely loved them. When I saw them, I thought, oh, I definitely want to have a go at doing some napkin tabs, because I just thought they were so cute. So yeah, so I hope that you like them. As I say, you know, they weren't my idea to do them with the napkins, but yeah, I hope you have fun if you decide to make some. And thank you so much for watching. Hope that you'll join me again soon. Thanks then. Bye.